It is 11:47 at night. You are placing your 28th lower third by hand. The text differs. Everything else is identical. Somewhere around lower third 16, you stopped being a creator and became a script, but the script ran on a human. Some tasks feel like work because they are meaningful. Writing a good script is work. Choosing the right example is work. Deciding what a video should say and what it should leave out is work. And then there is the other kind of work, the kind where you do the same precise thing over and over until your eyes begin negotiating with your soul. If you are editing a DJ mix, a tutorial series, a conference recording, or any production with repeated lower thirds, labels, timestamps, or metadata blocks, you know this problem. The first one is fine. The second one is still fine. By number 12, it is no longer creative. By number 31, it is a tax on being alive. And while you are placing lower third 27 somewhere else in the project, real work is starving. The thumbnail you didn't choose, the hook you didn't sharpen, the intro you didn't tighten, none of those decisions were waiting for inspiration. They were waiting for your attention, and your attention is currently being spent on a font size. That is not because editing is unimportant. It is because not every editing task is creative. Some tasks are repetitive, precise, and unforgiving, and those are perfect candidates for automation. The hard part is not admitting that automation can help. The hard part is deciding what should be automated and what should remain human judgment. If we automate the wrong thing, we produce garbage faster. So here's a simple filter. A task is automation material when it has 4 properties: structured input, repeated output, stable rules, and high annoyance. Take track identification in a DJ video. The creative work is the set, the transitions, the selection, the mood, the performance, the final cut. Those decisions belong to you. The energy curve from track 3 to track 7. The transition that makes the drop land harder. The choice to mute the vocal at exactly that bar. Those are not pattern matching problems. They are taste. But once the track list exists, manually creating every lower third is not a new artistic decision every time. It is mostly mapping. Track name maps to title, timestamp maps to position, font and color map to the brand. At that point, your job should not be to drag text boxes around for hours. Your job should be to design the template once, define the rules, and let the machine build the boring parts. First quadrant, structured input. The data already exists somewhere. A Q file, a track list, a CSV, a playlist, a timestamp list, a transcript, a set of titles. If the information is already written down in any form a tool can read, you are halfway to automating its visual output. If the information lives only in your head, you are not automating anything. You are still creating. Second quadrant, repeated output. You keep producing the same kind of artifact. Lower thirds, cards, captions, chapter markers, metadata rows. Third quadrant, stable rules. The output follows a pattern that does not change between items. Same font, same position, same timing logic, same brand discipline. If items 1 and 21 would look the same in style, the style is a rule. One more step before any of this becomes real. Before you automate a workflow, build 5 fake items and run the pipeline once on them. Not the real episode, not the real client, just 5 rows of nonsense that match the shape of the real input. 5 items is enough to find the bug that would have eaten 31. If the fake data run produces clean output, the rules are tight enough. If not, the rules are still hope, not architecture. If you are still here, the next part is the practical payoff. There is a 1-page automation filter at the end of this video. 5 fillable fields to describe your current task. 7 yes or no checks for the 4 quadrants plus 3 more for output discipline. 1 threshold that tells you whether the task is automation material or whether you should keep it close. 4th quadrant, high annoyance. The task consumes attention without needing much creativity. That word, annoyance, is doing real work in the filter. We are not asking whether the task is hard. We are asking whether it cost you the attention you needed for the actual creative decisions. That is what good automation should feel like. Not magic, not surrender, more like giving the boring task a chair in another room. The point of the filter is not to remove humans from the workflow. The point is to put humans where humans matter. The human decides the template, the brand, the style, the timing logic, and the final quality. The system reads the structured input, maps the data, builds the repeated pieces, and reduces the chance that number 27 gets mistyped because the editor is tired at 11:47 at night. Because here is the consequence chain when a tired editor types 27 by hand. One typo in a track name lands on screen, one viewer notices, one comment shows up, one subscriber loses a quarter point of trust, and next week, the same editor is wondering why retention dropped in the middle third of the video. The answer is not a mystery. The answer is that mechanical mistakes leak into the experience, and the viewer feels them even when they cannot name them. A good automation workflow should also be rebuildable. If the data changes, you should not need to repair 31 items by hand. You should be able to update the source, rebuild safely, and keep control over the result. That is why import formats matter. A tool that understands Q files, CSV files, playlists, or plain text is not just being flexible for fun. It is respecting the fact that real workflows do not all start in the same place. And that is also why output discipline matters. If the result lands in the editing environment in a way you can inspect, move, style, rebuild, or discard, you are still the operator. If the result is trapped inside a black box, you may have saved 10 minutes and created a new dependency. And there is a related trap, automation that automated itself out of being useful. The AI title generator that produces 31 variants of the same boring phrasing. The script that summarizes everything down to nothing. The shortcut is not the same thing as the workflow. Automation should reduce friction without stealing ownership. A pipeline that runs without review is a factory with a blindfold. The next time a task annoys you, do not immediately ask, "Can AI do this?" That question is too broad. Ask 4 smaller questions instead. Where is the input data? What output do I create repeatedly? Which rules stay the same? What must a human still approve? The automation filter below has all 4 lines as fillable fields. Answer them honestly, score the rest, and the threshold gives you the verdict. There is a second test that helps. Would you make the same decision again for item number 20 as you made for item number 1? If yes, you are looking at a rule, and rules are what machines do well. If no, if every item needs new judgment, keep the human close. Automation does not remove the need for review. If a lower third is wrong, the viewer sees it. If a timestamp is wrong, the viewer feels it. If a track name is wrong, someone will notice, and probably with impressive confidence in the comments. The other thing, automation should be understandable. A creator should be able to look at the input, look at the generated output, and know what happened. If track 5 is wrong, the fix should not require spiritual communication with a hidden algorithm. Correct the data, rebuild, review. That is a sane loop. Inspect, rebuild, review. Inspect means looking at 3 things: the input rows, the generated output, and any error log if the run produced one. Rebuild means fixing the data at the source, then running the pipeline cleanly, not patching the output by hand, not editing the rendered file with a screwdriver. Review means a final human pass, looking at a sample of items and asking, does this still respect the project? If yes, ship. If no, back to inspect. The loop is small, the loop is honest, the loop is yours. So, the automation filter, 5 fillable fields describing your current task, 7 yes or no checks across the 4 quadrants and output discipline, 1 threshold that tells you whether the task belongs to the machine, to a patch, or stays in human hands. Score 6 or 7 yes, You build the workflow. Score 3 to 5. You patch the rules and the input first before automating, because otherwise you will produce garbage faster. Score less than 3. You keep it manual. The threshold is opinionated, but it is opinionated based on what actually breaks at 3 in the morning. Faceless, YouTube, automation, hq.com/resources. Email in, filter out, completely free. No tracking circus, no upsell, no newsletter you did not ask for. Next, the moment a tool starts using AI providers, application programming interfaces, or external services, the question changes. It is no longer just, does this save time? It is also, who owns the key, who controls the data flow, and who can walk away with the work intact.